What's up, y'all? You know what time it is? It's about to be that time.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Do you need an industrial-strength washing machine for your electromagnetic railgun? We've got you covered.
Whoa. I didn't sign up for this. No one said anything about railguns.
Savage. And we're back. One Piece. 1039 is out. And Oda treated us to what is most definitely one of the best fight chapters of Onigashima. I was getting Punk Hazard Law vibes. This man, Law, turned Onigashima into the Kami Lookout. He sent his sword all the way down through Korin's tower, and Power Pole extended it into Wano. I was ready to put Law on a milk carton and say, but Punk Hazard Law. Just be like, have you seen this man? Savage. The one who broke the gears. The one who split an island in half. The one who raised a warship and, spun it upside down. Where you been, buddy? I made a joke last week about Law, extending his sword being reminiscent of the Power Pole, but I mean, this, Oda heard that and took it to the next level with this chapter. Is this the craziest thing Law has ever done? Or is the Punk Hazard breaking the gears feat still above it? Let me know in the comments, okay? I'm kind of leaning Punk Hazard, but this was insane. And the implications of this hole, and the penetration of this hole, and the crater that it made, are going to be very wide, very far-reaching. Speaking of Dragon Ball, this dude Kid was throwing letters on people's heads like Majin Buu. Magnets, how do they work? Like this. What? No! Let me talk about Kid for a little bit, okay? I have been largely unimpressed with Kid. I'm still relatively unimpressed with Kid, but this was his best showing. And that's not like me turning around on Kid or anything. That's just objective fact, okay? Oda finally went in and showed us what Kid could do. It wasn't anymore, just this man turning into a giant mech so he could pull an RKO out of nowhere or, jump off the ropes for the world's biggest people's elbow. This man started messing with polarity, all right? North and South poles, sending Big Mom all over the place, and then he made a rail gun, okay? Which is an electromagnetic gun. So it makes sense. Oda's science is correct. He pulled in whatever metal he can find. Looks like he found a washing machine for the front of it. Kid just took one, plopped it right on the front of his gun, and took Big Mom to the cleaners. Folded her. She's getting back up, though. When he shot Big Mom with the railgun, did he send her through the hole that Law made? That's what I want to know. Because that's what would have been the best finishing panel to this chapter. Law creating that hole, creating the crater, but then Kid using the railgun to fire her through that hole down to the bottom of Onigashima. First of all, when we saw Law power pole extend down to Onigashima in the first place, I thought he was already sending Big Mom there. I got really hype in the chat because that's what I thought happened. That's not the case, okay? But what Law did was he created a gigantic hole from the live floor that goes through the basement where Yamato is, right? So now this is a major plot point that can be used. This is one of the most important things that Law has done in the entire arc. Now there's implications. Now there's things that can happen because of this tunnel that has been created, right? Big Mom can fall through it, and then she's out of the arc for at least a while, right? Because that's the way that story structure works. Big Mom is such a threat that she needs to be removed from the main plot in order for everything else to happen. Oda is just playing a big keep-away game with Big Mom. He wants her out of the main story, but he wants her to be a looming threat. People in the chat were asking me, do I think Big Mom has been defeated? And that's a yes and no sort of situation. Law and Kid are going to get the W for this battle, right? But they're not actually beating Big Mom. They're not killing Big Mom. Big Mom is going to get up and she's going to still be a threat. Her story is not done. She has not reconciled everything that happened with her in her past. Now, Oda as a writer doesn't necessarily have to reconcile every major character in the story, but when you make it such a plot point with the Mother Carmel photo and everything, it kind of implies that at some point you're going to bring this up and you're going to have this realization with Big Mom that she needs to reconcile the fact that she ate her mother, right? And I've brought it up plenty of times that, you know, the CP0 guys look like some of the kids that Big Mom supposedly ate, right? So if they ended up having an interaction with Big Mom and, like, told her what happened, then we could reconcile everything here in Wano. If not, then it may go forward into another arc, Elbaf, whatever, involve putting the memories back in her, something like that, just to button that storyline up. So she still has unfinished business. These guys won, technically, but they didn't win. Now, Yamato also has that hole next to them, right? So Yamato can take the bombs and throw them down the hole. I think it was Fable in the chat, right, was mentioning what if Big Mom fell into the crater and then Yamato dropped the bombs on them. Then I'd be like, okay, maybe Big Mom is dead. I don't know. If that happened, then that would be pretty crazy. Another thing brought up in the chat by Fable that I liked was the comparison between Big Mom and Kid. Mom, Kid, Mom, Kid. Oda obviously did that on purpose. Whether or not Big Mom falls into this crater, Yamato will likely throw these bombs outside. Oda made it a big point to show us how far away Onigashima is from the Fire Festival, from where everybody is partying. There is a small panel where you can see the music and you can see the distance away from everything. If Yamato throws all those bombs out of the Onigashima and like has them land there, that's a desolate area. There's nobody there. That'll at least get rid of that. We still got to deal with Kazembo, but we don't have to worry about all of these bombs. So Law has saved everybody in that respect, if that's the way that Oda wants to go with this stuff. By also creating this tunnel, we can get Marco having a clear traversal path to Kazembo for my Marco versus Kazembo theory. So there's a lot of things that can happen now that there is a gigantic hole all the way from the live floor down through. Law was an honest and true savage this chapter, though. Okay? And, I'm a connoisseur of savagery, right? When this man turned to Kid and said, all right, what you gonna do next, buddy? A hippo? A zebra? You gonna start making balloon animals? Start, being a birthday clown? Go do some kids' parties? Like, I was loving it. I'm like, Law was literally the community in that moment. Now let's talk about Big Mom in general and her display during this fight, okay? Big Mom's my favorite Yonko. I've never been, shy to say that. I've brought it up a bunch of times. I think that she's a great character. I think that Oda has utilized her very well. Is it perfect? No. All the wedding cake stuff isn't great. But she's easily the most fleshed out. Actually, I would argue she's the most fleshed out villain, period. Right? We know more about Big Mom than we know about just about any other villain in the series. We've spent more time with Big Mom than we have just about any other villain in the series. So that's one of the interesting things here. And we're really seeing what she can do. I was very impressed when she was able to heal herself using her souls. Now, if she's able to do that by taking souls from someone else, and it's not just intrinsic, her using her own souls to heal, that would be broken. But either way, this shows exactly how much of a problem Big Mom is, why she is such a threat, why she is a Yonko. All of the different things she can do, and she can heal. So she's crazy, all right? My biggest disappointment in this chapter is just that she brings out misery, right? Which a lot of people brought up the comparisons to Mother Carmel. First, I didn't see it, but then when I went and looked at Mother Carmel side by side with it, yes, the hair has the same curl that Mother Carmel has. And the name in Japanese, has mother inside of it. Obviously, there's a play there. What bothered me is that we didn't get to see it actually do something. I would have loved if Big Mom just got one hit with it. Just hit Kid once with it. Let's see the devastating power of this, right? One of the biggest downfalls of this particular fight in general is that our heroes, right, Kid and Law, we didn't actually see their struggle. Their struggle was off-screened. We saw it a little bit, right? But I mean, we come back to the fight and they're down, beaten, all of this stuff. That's what I want to see, right? That is what we as readers rally towards when we actually see them lose, because it makes the win that much sweeter. So by not seeing them lose, it's okay, they won. And that's sort of an issue going on with Wano at large, is that Oda is trying to do a lot. He has so many plot threads open, right? And, he's also said that if he could, every chapter would be at least 30 pages long, and Shueisha and Shonen Jump often have to trim down what his output is. So we end up missing out on things. And in this particular case, and in a lot of the fights that we're seeing in Wano, we're only seeing the end of it. Everything is getting off-screened. Kiku versus Kanjuro. Dripper Scarfino versus Drake. Here, we never saw Big Mom really thrashing on Kid and Law the way we wanted to. But even with that being the case, it's still one of the best fights in Onigashima, and I would go as far as to say one of the best choreographed fights in the entire series. And the fun part about it is that it isn't Straw Hat focused. It reminds me of Law and Smoker versus Virgo and Punk Hazard. Something that Oda actually spent a ridiculous amount of time on, which was very fun to see a fight that had nothing to do with the Straw Hats, but had major implications to, the story at large. And I think that when all of this saga is wrapped up, I think we're going to even be able to go back to that fight and look at it in a different lens as well. Especially if what I believe about Law is true, and that he is a part of Sword and potentially a secret Marine, because then it would be, Law versus Virgo, and you would have this pirate who's really a Marine fighting a Marine who's really a pirate. That's that Oda level symbolism that, I really want to get into. And for more, if that's the first time you're hearing about this, the video is linked below. It's my big sword theory. Speaking of Marines, we saw Law's crew of fodder Marines, right? And I got to actually break out my Jean Bart figure for this review, which I don't get to use enough. I mean, he's not a Marine. We know that he was in captive with the world government. But still, how did he get to Onigashima? I need to know that, Oda. It's just something that, we saw him down below, and then obviously, Yamato climbed Onigashima. Luffy and Momonosuke rode up, but we didn't see exactly how Jean Bart and, the other fodder guys that did not help at all in this fight. Law's crew, Kid's crew, scrubs. Basura. Yeah, they're trash. In 1040, we're definitely going to see them interacting with Law. They're going to go up to him. We may even get some scene where they think Law is going to die, or they set it up that he's used up so much stamina that they don't know what's going to happen to him. Just that little extra drama there. I think that that's what we're going to get at the beginning of 1040. And yeah, but I'm very curious as to what Oda wants to do with Kid now. Because Kid seems like he can get back up and continue a fight somewhere else. And he still, has a grudge with Kaido. Are we going to see Kid run up to the rooftop? Help out Luffy? I don't know. I'm not against it, but I also don't know if that's exactly what's going to happen. From a story structure perspective, there's a hierarchy to things that have to get done in a particular order, right? The most important thing gets handled last. Luffy versus Kaido. That's going to get handled last. People believed potentially that Big Mom would be the second thing on that hierarchy list. This is about Kaido and Orochi. They're either going to get defeated simultaneously, like we'll see the panel of Luffy, finishing off his last barrage of Kaido at the same time that we're seeing like Hiyori or Zoro or Denjiro or Momonosuke like cutting off the heads and tails of Orochi. So we have to go back to Hiyori and Orochi soon now that, this is finished off. So I think that that's going to happen within the next 2 chapters. Not that Orochi is going to necessarily get defeated in the next 2 chapters, but that we're going to go back to Hiyori's concert, right? You'll love all of the shamisen hits on the Hiyori collection. Each CD is packed with all of your favorites. An ode to Odin, Bingo Bongo Bungo, Flying Kick of Love, I'm Secretly Crying Behind My Mask, and many more. Act now and get a second CD, absolutely free. Yeah, I don't think Orochi deserves this concert that he's getting, but, they've been down there a while. She's played a couple of songs. Nami and Tama, what are they going to do for the rest of the arc? I think that Tama's role has essentially been fulfilled, but is Nami going to have a further purpose? We haven't seen them since they split off from Usopp and Kinemon. The biggest emphasis of all the characters that we've been seeing is Robin, and we haven't gone back to Robin and Brook for a while, and that's something that we need to see. Will Schoolboy Collins, the CP0 member that isn't with Izo, right? Will he get to where Robin and Brook are first? I'd love to see that. I want to see Brook versus Schoolboy Collins. Okay, and if you don't know, I've given names to these guys because Oda has not, so I've given them names. All right, my guy with the scarf, that's Dripper Scarfino. All right, my guy with the bucket hat, that's Schoolboy Collins. Guy with the funny looking mouth, that's Machu Skizu. All right, that's what I call them. That's what it is. Until Oda tells us differently. And since that guy's a long arm, there's going to be a tie there. And speaking of long arms, right, a lot of people were bringing it up in my Grim Reaper video for 1038. Go check that one out. It was a lot of fun. That they were bringing up 3D2Y, right, which is something that I wish I had brought up in that video as well, because it's such a great tie to the Grim Reaper and the Underworld, right? Kuma sends Brook, and he lands in the middle of like a seance where they're trying to make the Lord of the Underworld appear, and then here's Brook, and they think it's him. And now here we see the Grim Reaper, and it looks like Brook. So there's a tie there, right? I think Frankie's going to arrive to where Zoro is, and Zoro's not going to be there. And it's going to be where's Zoro, right? But that may not happen for chapters from now, and we're just going to be left with this, like, what happened to Zoro? And they kind of have to figure that out. That would be kind of fun. I'm just saying, tinfoil, but, we may be taking a trip to the Underworld, which we know exists because Brook mentioned it. When he died, he saw it. So there's a lot of fun things to come. I definitely want to see Yamato have that sort of spark that they can take the bombs and throw them down the hole. So that's going to wrap things up, guys. I want to thank everybody that supports the channel. I want to thank everybody that supports, Chrissy and I with all of our endeavors here. If you're looking for the stream for this week, okay, it is on the new VOD channel, okay, Rand Detroit, linked below. I did do a stream earlier in the week regarding episode 1008 of the anime, which covered chapter 995, which was my favorite chapter of 2020. Right, that's when Tama arrived. It was that big Nami moment, Marco versus Big Mom. There was so much really good stuff that was happening in that chapter, so I wanted to do that. I got a copyright kind of thing going on with that one, so I'm not going to do any anime reactions on YouTube anymore. People have been telling me to do it on Twitch anyway. I don't know much about Twitch, but I'm learning, and I think that further anime reviews are going to happen on Twitch. Chrissy just got the new Pokemon game. She was saying that I should stream playing it. I've never streamed a game before. I mean, really, because I told her, I was just like, Chrissy, if I play that game, all I'm going to do is run around and just give the Pokemon stupid nicknames like I do with Pokemon Go. And she was like, I think people would probably really like to see that. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. let me know in the comments if you're interested in me doing like some sort of Twitch stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff that I want to do on YouTube and all that, but YouTube's all, you know, like you gotta be careful. But I guess you don't with Twitch. I don't know. So in the future, we might be twitching at Randy Troy. I want to thank our new member, okay, one of the biggest supporters of the channel, Big Rack, Tyrone Will, my guy Ty. All right, join the channel. I appreciate you, man.
Another one.
Also, Aztec Device for rejoining. Everybody that is a member, I appreciate all of you. And I'll see you here for 1040. I'm excited. No break.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.